spicy side.
From breaking headlines to backroom whispers, all served hot and fresh. I'm Ferdi Salvador, and we are glad to have you with us.
I'm Mike Rodriguez. This is the Daily Dish.
And I'm Chal Lontoc. Join us the next hour and a half where the news meets the stories that matter to you.
I love it. It's a green kind of day.
Yes, it's all very earth.
From top to bottom.
No, Chal is completely
I
serious.
love the mix of colors, different shades of green.
All the shades of green are in me right now.
This is
On
giving,
me, in me, everywhere.
Giving madam.
Even the let's move on. Let's move on.
So, Chal, I know you are in the travel industry.
Yes,
and,
let's talk about
what
this.
is going on,
Yes.
because this is really inciting paranoia.
You shared with us something that most disgusting behavior at 35,000 feet or so of people up on air. So let's.
We were just discussing airline etiquette, right? So, Chal, what is this about?
Well, personally, what are the no-nos for you when it comes to flying?
When traveling, well, yeah, like what we discussed already, no using of earpods or
you need to use
earphones.
You need to use
Like when people don't use it, that's a pet peeve. And also when they show their feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now that's
while
disgusting.
flying or when in airports.
So
right?
a lot of feet sharing and stories have been shared online where other passengers actually put their feet whether on the other person's chair or even in between that little space to extend their seat, no?
And then you look beside you, there's like feet sticking out.
Yes,
or just a toe.
I'll tell you about a foot story. Okay, I was flying in from Brazil to Dubai. Actually, I think it was last year, the year before, and this humongous, literally and figuratively, Hollywood star was on my left side. And this particular Hollywood star, I will not mention him.
Well, we already, never mind.
Yeah, because I might get sued. I don't want to get sued. But he's one of those, mga hero characters.
Yes.
Oh, there's a
one of our favorite heroes.
He might be. I'll tell you off air, but he was walking around the cabin with no socks, no slippers, no shoes on the carpet. And that's the most disgusting thing on the plane because it's really dirty. So I'm like...
So there's a lot of people who bring wipes and they wipe down their seat.
Yeah.
What you should not forget, like what is being shown here also, is to wipe the actual tray and the table.
And the pocket.
And the pocket?
The pocket is the most disgusting, most dirtiest place.
Oh, where they throw everything.
Yeah.
So can you imagine?
Just put all their stuff there.
Yeah, do you put your iPad there or do you put your phone sometimes?
Or after you blow your nose, the tissue gets...
1,000%. And they never clean it.
Well, there's no time because there's a turnover, diba, with the airline. They just go for whatever is most obvious.
Like a quick wipe is the most we can hope for.
Okay, so that guys, just wipe it down and then you guys are gonna be safe, especially the back of your head. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we have a packed show today. We have fragrance specialist Bernadette Lim. Right, so it's very interesting.
It's all about scents.
Yes, and I have seen discussions on finding your signature scent. I wonder how you can.
I know this is going to be
that.
exciting because it tells you about your chemistry and your personality. So I'm a fragrance person, so this is particularly very exciting for me.
And there are a lot of local fragrances now.
And who else do we have today, Miss Chal?
We also have Dr. Francis Ke, medical oncology. We'll be talking about cancer genetics and genomics on cancer treatment.
Yes, because we had Dr. Eileen the other last week, and now we've got a geneticist
to talk about breast cancer, and also the week before that we talked about colon cancer.
Yes, but this one particularly will tell you if you are susceptible or you are
if you
predisposed.
have the gene for it.
Yeah,
right?
exciting. Yes,
very interesting conversations. Stay tuned for that, but we have a lot of news to cover. Let's go to the headlines.
This is my daily dish. This is my daily dish. This is my daily dish. My daily dish. My daily dish.
In today's top stories, amid rising fuel prices, Senate President Tito Soto is pushing for the repeal of the oil deregulation law. The government is now working to finalize the guidelines for the fuel subsidy to help the transport sector. Vice President Sara Duterte, together with their supporters, marked the first anniversary of former President Duterte's arrest, urging for prayers for his safe return. And later in the show, we'll speak with fragrance specialist Bernadette Lim. We also have oncologist Dr. Francis Que on the future of cancer treatment. Our top story, the Senate leadership wants to bring back the government's control on oil prices, especially in times of urgency. Hannah T is reporting live from Manila. Hannah, tell us about what did SP Tito Soto say about this push for the repeal of the oil deregulation law.
That's right. Senate President Tito Soto seeks to repeal the oil deregulation law, which liberalized the oil industry and gave all oil companies free rein over prices. It was in 1998 when RA 8479, or the Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation Act, was passed, and it removed government price controls and allowed market competition to determine fuel prices. Soto confirmed he voted no as he was a senator at the time. He says he knew that early about the effect of the law, seeing that the government cannot do anything about the decisions of oil companies. The Department of Energy earlier said they do not have the legal authority to set price limits or compel oil companies to adjust prices based on the timing of their fuel purchases. As we speak, the Senate Committee on Energy is now tackling a bill called Murang Langis Act, which seeks to mandate the use of biofuels through blending requirements for gasoline and diesel, and offers incentives for production, including tax perks on raw materials for biofuel production. This afternoon, we are expecting that the same committee will tackle more than 5 bills about the suspension or reduction of excise tax on petroleum products amid the Middle East crisis. Soto says he will monitor the developments of the hearing and see if a bill granting the suspension or reduction of excise tax will go to Senate plenary today. Depending on the development, he will then file a bill himself to repeal the oil deregulation law.
Hannah, I believe the Senate will go on a break sometime next week. Now, what is the assurance on Senate action?
Soto assured definitely there will be a Senate action today about granting President Bongbong Marcos the special authority to either reduce or suspend the excise tax on fuel. Depende yan sa kung ano yung magiging takbo ng hearing mamaya, kung saan more than 5, I believe it's about 7 bills na tatalakayin regarding doon sa request ni PBBM, and inaasahan na this afternoon magkakaroon daw sana dapat ng consolidated bill hanggang sa maidala ito sa Senate plenary, and susubukan nila na bago matapos yung Senate session or bago mag-break ang Senado ay magkakaroon na ng aksyon patungkol sa request ng Pangulo. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Hannah T, reporting to us live from Manila. 2 House committees convened today to assess the impact of the Middle East crisis. Earlier, Majority Leader Sandro Marcos called for a congressional briefing on the escalating situation in the region. Our John Manalo is joining us live from the Batasang Pambansa. Hi, John. What's the update?
The Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Representatives, along with the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, convened today to discuss the impacts of the escalating tensions in the Middle East, as well as the Philippine government's response to the matter. Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Maria Rachel Arenas and Overseas Workers Committee Chair Brian Revilla led the joint committee meeting with representatives from the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Department of Migrant Workers in attendance. In her opening statement, Arena stressed that for the Philippines, the hostilities in the Middle East are not mere peripheral events or secondary concerns. She said the situation constitutes a protracted humanitarian emergency that poses a clear and pressing danger to Filipino nationals in the region. Arenas added that the Philippines is not merely an observer of the conflict, as it directly threatens the safety and security of Filipinos, requiring an immediate and decisive response from the government. Meanwhile, Revilla echoed that urgent urgent and concrete action from the government is needed. He emphasized that overseas Filipino workers, long considered modern-day heroes of the country, now need protection, as many of them find themselves caught in areas affected by crossfires and drone warfare. Revilla also stressed that when powerful nations clash, it is often ordinary people who suffer first, those who are simply trying to live and work peacefully. In relation to this, DMW Secretary Hans Leo Cacdac reported that the government is preparing to repatriate at least 380 overseas Filipino workers. This figure does not yet include at least 2 chartered flights expected to arrive in the coming days. Cacdac added that the DMW is also seeking assistance from the DFA to help stranded OFWs, especially those located in areas close to active conflict zones. The assistance being provided include financial support, transportation, and basic commodities. Meanwhile, DFA Assistant Secretary for Migration Affairs, Ezedin Tago, reported that 327 non-OFWs in the Middle East have so far requested repatriation. That is based on the latest government data. Of this number, 188 have already been repatriated or provided with assistance. The DFA also reported that there are around 2.4 million Filipinos across areas near U.S. military sites, as well as locations affected by Iranian retaliatory strikes and U.S.-Israeli military operations. The agency has also approved additional standby funds for non-OFW posts in the region and has provided support to the DMW in deploying rapid response teams to Egypt and the Israel border, as well as to Bahrain and Oman. This comes after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. directed the DFA and the DMW to closely coordinate in monitoring the safety of Filipinos in affected areas. Today's hearing also comes after House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos called for a congressional hearing on the escalating tensions in the Middle East, stressing the need to closely monitor the situation and, of course, the developments and ensure the safety of Filipinos abroad. Mai.
Joan, so far, what other mechanisms have been used by the government to ensure the safety of Filipinos in areas affected by the Middle East conflict?
The DFA said that they are closely coordinating with foreign service ports, especially with the embassies abroad, to ensure that the movements of the Filipinos in the region remain safe. And they also remain on 24/7 alert amid the ongoing tensions. The embassies have also republished advisories in both English and Filipino, informing Filipinos of hotline numbers and advising them to shelter in place and follow the host government's advice. They also warned Filipinos to avoid non-essential movement and to shift to work from home or remote study arrangements when possible. Communication lines have also been maintained, according to the DFA, so that Filipinos and their families can stay connected during the crisis. Meanwhile, the DMW also said it's implementing similar measures, particularly to support OFWs and their dependents as they navigate the ongoing tensions in the Middle East. Mai.
Thank you, Joan Manalo, joining us live from the Batasang Pambansa. Amid growing concerns over the crisis in the Middle East, the Laguna provincial government has formed a crisis management team to help cushion its impacts on BNC's Politico Nightly. Laguna Governor Sol Aragones also warned that a potential oil shock could trigger job losses, particularly in the manufacturing and transport sectors.
Napakalaki, Robert, kaya bahagi din ng aming plano na gagawin sa pagpaghahanda sa krisis na ito ay makipag-usap din dito sa mga kumpanya dito sa lalawigan ng Laguna, kasi ang epekto niyan kapag nahirapan sila, wag naman sana magtatanggal ng mga trabahador o mga empleyado, so magkakaroon din ng mga kababayan ko na mawawalan ng trabaho. So ito yung mga isa rin sa pinag-aaralan at kakausapin namin. Actually, ang next move namin, kausapin ng mga mayor, alamin ang plano rin nila sa kanilang mga bayan at ano yung mga posibleng maapektuhan. At isa na nga itong sinasabi ninyo.
The first batch of 9 OFWs from Iran has safely returned to the Philippines. The Foreign Affairs Department welcomed their arrival thanks to the joint efforts of the Philippine embassies in Tehran and Ankara, which coordinated their land crossing as well as their flight back amid the ongoing security situation in the region. The DFA says it remains committed to President Bongbong Marcos's directive to assist Filipinos abroad and ensure their safe return home. Amid yesterday's double-digit oil price hike, the biggest in the country's history, the Energy Department has canceled the permits of 2 gas stations over alleged profiteering. Speaking on BNC's agenda, Energy Secretary Sharon Garin called it the most disappointing thing, saying some retailers exploited the Middle East crisis and public panic.
There are gas stations that took advantage of the panic of our people and the difficulties they're undergoing. So we today we are canceling 2 permits of 2 gas stations. I just don't have the names right now, no? Pero mandyan. Pero as of last weekend, ang count ko doon ng reports was around 85. We investigated and yung may evidence, strong evidence of profiteering or hoarding, we issued 55. Out of the 85, 55 ang pinadalhan namin ng show cause order, and today is a day we are waiting for their responses. But 2 of those with strong evidence and really parang 50% increase sila, we are canceling their permits.
Secretary Garin meanwhile says some fuel purchases using portable containers are allowed for some customers. Posting on Facebook, she said this is allowed for fishing vessels, sea transport operations, generator sets for hospitals, telecom and government facilities, as well as agricultural machinery equipment. Other customers are telecom towers and related facilities, local government operational requirements, other private sector businesses with existing or valid purchase orders, and port service transport units. The Department of Trade and Industry boasts of the free trade agreements that the Philippines has entered into with other countries. Ivy Reyes is joining us live from Taguig. Ivy, go ahead.
The ASEAN Business Environment Forum started this morning with Trade Industry Secretary Cristina Roque pronouncing that the Marcos government will go down as the administration with the most free trade agreements, or FTAs. By July of this year, the Philippines will have 20 FTAs. As of January 2026, the latest FTA the Philippines signed on is an economic partnership agreement with the United Arab Emirates during President Marcos's short trip to UAE. And this agreement is actually the country's first trade pact with a Middle Eastern state. Now, as per DTI's announcement, we're set to accomplish FTAs with Chile, Canada, and the European Union. Roque stressed that these incoming FTAs will add to the country's competitive edge, over 70% of our exports, as the agreements give way for Filipino products to make it to global markets. Digitalizing the ASEAN economy is central in today's discussion. According to economic experts here from the World Bank and Jakarta, tariffs, which is another lingering issue not just in the ASEAN, are no longer the only concern of investors, but also non-tariff measures such as regulatory measures, which the administration has previously addressed as a bureaucratic hurdle. The World Bank says that entry of new firms to the Philippines and other Asian countries has been lagging for the last 15 years. While the World Bank praises the regulatory reforms the Philippines has taken since, they believe implementation of these rules still remains to be a challenge. More than digitalization, World Bank says there is a need to re-engineer processes as so many of our agencies are still involved in our country's regulatory systems. Meanwhile, according to Jakarta's Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, easing regulatory restrictions can lead to productivity increases, and that domestic reforms are actually especially helpful buffers against external shocks. As government everywhere are pressured, the ASEAN Development Bank adds that current business environments no longer call for technical solutions, but rather more practical and strategic reforms. Just a brief recap of President Marcos's New York trip, PBBM finally addressed questions on the whereabouts of resigned Congressman Zaldico. According to PBBM, we cannot bring Zaldico home, as doing so requires extensive coordination with Portugal, and the administration is currently processing this coordination. Meanwhile, on panic buying amid the Middle Eastern conflict, President Marcos said there will be inevitable price hikes, but that the government government is on standby to provide assistance to the public. Also, there are now 2 more chartered flights to repatriate Filipinos, although the exact number of Filipinos on the manifest has not been given yet. On the most awaited fate of the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, we have yet to get a clarification from the palace because PBBM said that ICI is still on the final stages of writing their accomplishment report, but it has been pronounced before that the palace has received this almost 1,000 pages copy of the said report. So we will keep you posted once Malacanang responds and whether or not they have indeed received this report. And here in Taguig in the ASEAN, several plenary discussions on digital reform and public-private partnerships are lined up with the largest economic experts from the region. Mai.
Thank you, Ivy Reyes, live from Taguig City. Over to the United States, we get an update on President Bongbong Marcos's working visit. Our U.S. correspondent, Don Tagala, joins us on the line now. Hi, Don. Please tell us what's on the president's agenda.
On the last day of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s working visit to New York, the president made 2 major appeals to the attending member states of the United Nations: peace in the Middle East and other parts of the world, and support for the Philippines' bid for a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council. In a special plenary session on Tuesday, held specifically for the Philippines, the president emphasized that the Philippines has a history in the UN as a reliable partner and committed peacemaker.
Our contributions across the whole spectrum of UN work since its inception are borne out by history. Always ready to be part of the solution, the Philippines has regularly proven itself to be an independent, trusted partner, an innovative pathfinder, and a committed peacemaker. In the midst of mounting challenges and uncertainties, our United Nations needs steady, committed, experienced hands, and we humbly offer ours to serve in the UN Security Council for 2027 to 2028.
Members of the Filipino community came to listen to the president speak at this huge international platform.
For him to be invited here in the United Nations, it's such an honor for Filipinos. We are peace-loving people. We are there to support each and everyone here and also abroad.
It's very encouraging, inspiring, and it makes me proud to be a Filipino. And it's a call for us to make sure that we are heard and we stand for something.
Peace and democracy is actually the bastion of, people being free and being able to express yourself and everything. So it's actually good that the president is continuing this endeavor so that at least it will be a free Philippines.
Many kababayan showed their full support to PBBM's call for peace and democracy, as well as the Philippines' bid for a non-permanent seat in the Security Council. Mai?
Don, tell us about the chances of the country's bid for a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council. What are you hearing there?
So, for the Philippines' bid for a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council for the year 2027-2028, our main competitor will be Kyrgyzstan for the Asia-Pacific region. I don't know Kyrgyzstan's standing in terms of their popularity or influence in the diplomatic community, but one thing I'm sure of is that we have Philippine ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Romualdez. He knows his way around Washington. He has developed deep ties with the diplomatic community. He is very well respected and quite influential in that circle. So knowing the ambassador, I bet he will make this happen by campaigning very hard until we have at least 160 votes to win the election in June later this year. So if we campaign really hard, then there is a good chance. Mai?
Thanks for the update, Don. Our U.S. correspondent, Don Tagala, there reporting. Vice President Sara Duterte marked the first anniversary since the arrest and transfer of her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, to The Hague, Netherlands. In a video message, the Vice President urged for vigilance and emphasized that no Filipino should be denied due process.
Ang anibersaryong ito ay isang panawagan para sa ating lahat na manatiling mapagmatyag. Kailangang manatiling malaya, tapat at matatag ang ating mga institusyon laban sa anumang pagsubok na baluktutin ang hustisya. Walang sino mang Pilipino ang dapat pagkakaitan ng proteksyon ng ating saligang batas.
Davao City 1st District Representative Paolo Duterte also said March 11 is not just a date, but it should also serve as a reminder of loyalty repaid with betrayal. Meanwhile, Davao City Councilor Temujino Campo called for prayers for the safe return of the former president.
Magagawa lang natin po, hindi naman tayo violent na tao, humihiling lang po tayo ng pagdasal sa ating mga kababayan na through prayers, the former president will be home soon.
Former President Duterte was arrested following an international criminal court warrant over alleged crimes against humanity. In other news, the government is now working on the distribution of fuel subsidies to help ease the impacts of the Middle East crisis on the transport sector. Ian Maghanoy is on the phone for the details. Hi Ian, what's the plan?
Yes, the finalization of the distribution scheme for the fuel subsidy is underway in a bid to help the transport sector affected by the escalating tensions in the Middle East. The leadership of the Department of Transportation confirmed. The assurance came Wednesday amid a joint inspection by the Department of Transportation, the Department of Public Works and Highways, and the Toll Regulatory Board for the ongoing construction of the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 project in Pandacan, Manila City. Transport Chief Giovanni Lopez explained that the agency began preparing for the fuel subsidy distribution in early March when the Middle East crisis erupted on February 28. Among the latest preparations being undertaken is identifying whether the trucking industry could also avail of the fuel subsidy. For now, March 30 serves as the tentative final date for the expected fuel subsidy distribution. Giovanni stressed that it would take at least 30 calendar days before the Department of Energy could issue a certification for the fuel subsidy distribution. Mai?
Ian, did the transport chief Giovanni Lopez mention a timeline to begin distributing this subsidy?
The leadership of the Department of Transportation has yet to finally comment on the exact timeline amid the ongoing preparations for the fuel subsidy distribution. However, the Transportation Secretary Giovanni Lopez said he is set to go to Malacanang today to discuss the matter. Mai?
Thank you. Ian Maghanoy reporting. The Philippine Army is preparing for possible scenarios that might happen, citing various conflicts overseas. In an interview on BNC's At the Forefront, Lieutenant General Antonio Navarrete, the new commanding general of the Philippine Army, said personnel are also upgrading their skills to address cyber threats. The Army is currently celebrating its 129th anniversary.
Yeah, I strongly urge to dapat lahat lang no kasi we are already in a different yung ating we have several threats and the base of the armed forces is not only the regular but also we need this reserve, the base of our reserve forces.
He also hopes the Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC, will be made mandatory for all college students.
Feeling yung ROTC program sa lahat, no? They can be ready for any eventualities.
First Gen Corporation is expanding its solar portfolio. Its Renewable arm holds a groundbreaking ceremony for the 54-megawatt Inara solar project. Che Sulit is reporting to us from Tanawan, Batangas. For the details, Che, go ahead.
Filipino households are feeling the impact of the volatile oil prices in the global markets. The financial shocks are driving up costs across key sectors, including transportation, fuel, and power. The renewable energy arm of the Lopez family-led First Gen Corporation has unveiled the groundbreaking today of Inara Solar Power Project plant. Located in Tanawan, Batangas, the 54-megawatt solar farm aims to boost the province's supply of clean energy. First Gen is expanding its solar portfolio, a milestone that supports the country's shift towards clean and sustainable energy. It held the groundbreaking of the solar facility Phase 3 today, March 11. The 2.1 billion peso project embarks to power thousands of homes across the province of Batangas. Batangas Governor and actress Vilma Santos Recto lauds the project for its economic significance.
It will expand our country's energy supply, ensuring that the rising energy demands of our growing industries and households, particularly here in Calabar Zone, are met sustainably and securely.
She adds that the facility cushions the country from the fuel price shocks amid the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. First Gen President and COO Francis Giles Puno says the Inara Solar Project supports the country's push for a decarbonized future.
Today's groundbreaking marks another milestone in our long partnership with Tanawan and the province of Batangas.
Tanawan City Mayor Sonny Colyantes says the solar farm is also expected to generate jobs for local residents. The Phase 3 of the Inara Solar Power Project is expected to be operational by the second quarter of 2027. This is 15 months from now, Mai. That's the latest from my end. Back to you.
Thank you, Chesulit, reporting live from Tanawan, Batangas. Hundreds of youth from various schools and organizations participated in the event Youth Rising held at the SM North EDSA Skydome in Quezon City. This as communities around the world celebrate International Women's Day. The day-long activity gathered experts discussing the importance of the youth in closing the gender gap and persistent discrimination. SM Prime's Vice President and Head of Design, Innovation and Strategy, Jaika C, also shared her perspective in addressing other issues concerning the youth sector.
In a world that's full of volatility and so much unsureness, it's easy to get caught up in all the negativities of life. As a leader, though, there's three things that we can work on to really help provide a more positive mindset for yourself and for your communities. The first one, I think, would be to really check your sources. There's so much misinformation that's happening in this world. So making sure that the news that you're listening to really comes from a reliable source. The second would be dialoguing with people, really sharing your thoughts and opinions with others, making sure that your ideas and their ideas are incorporated to one another. And the third for me would be to balance off the negativity with positivity, to get news that really fills your life with positivity.
Now, is it true that every person has a perfect scent match? Coming up next, we'll find out with fragrance specialist Bernadette Lim. Stay tuned. The Daily Dish will be right back.
And welcome back to the Daily Dish. I'm so excited because our guest today is recognized as the first perfumer or nose educator in the country.
She's also the founder of BC Fragrance and the Scent Studio, the country's first DIY perfume making studio. Please welcome to the Daily Dish fragrance specialist or no, something I learned today, Bernadette Lim.
Hello, the nose, Bernadette Lim.
Okay, for our viewers there, I learned something today. I thought Ferdi and Bernadette were trying to pull my leg or trying to be sarcastic, but apparently that's what you really call it. Yes. Someone who does, how do you say it?
A perfumeur.
A perfumeur. Okay, is really called a nose. So if Bernadette says, yes, I am a nose for a living, that is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what? Chal, it's a highly specialized career.
Yes, I would think so.
Because there's only a few noses in the world. In fact, how many are here, Bernadette?
In the Philippines, there's 3 professionally trained.
How many certified?
Maybe 6 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so we're less than 20, all in all. Some of them are not educated in a perfumery school. Some are self-taught.
Yes.
But they're still considered perfumers because they create scents from scratch.
Yeah, so can you educate Chal and myself? Because
actually just me, because Ferdi knows a lot about these things already.
No, what we can talk, because you know, fragrances is a very important thing for any person, right? But to be educated in this industry is different from just buying perfume, right?
Correct.
You legitimize what people are wearing, basically. So why go to a perfume school?
Actually, it was more of a hobby at the beginning. So just a bit of a background. My parents own a chemical company and we used to distribute, well, until now, fragrance compounds for manufacturers of soaps and fabric softeners. And at that time, my dad said, come work for the company already. And then at that time, I found it not so creative because a lot of the companies that would ask us for fragrances would just pattern it after what's already in the market, the product. So for me, it was boring for a 20-year-old, diba? So at that time, I tried to look for schools where I can study perfumery further. And at that time, my sister was also studying in New York. So para makatipid sa apartment.
Share na kayo. I love it. Economical. Yeah.
Nakatipid si Mr. and Mrs. Lim.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's one of the factors why I studied in the US first. One of the things why I also considered the US is because there's really no school here in Asia at that time. And going to France was a bit daunting for me because I didn't know how to speak French. So recently, I did some classes in France, but before that, I also took up classes in Thailand, in Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, so all over. So I have a background on what the difference is between Western style perfumery, European, and then Asian.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Okay, tell us the difference, because I'm
like, there's a difference.
I'm like, what is the difference?
So Asian is more, well, at least right now, it's more focused on tea scents and then local ingredients that you can actually find mostly in Asian countries. Rice, tea, certain woods that you can only find here in Asia. Western perfumery is more like in the US, it's really more for mass market, I would say. Very pleasant on the nose that they can adapt to different markets. And this is where you can find Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body. Okay. Yeah. And then there's also a difference between European and the Western.
Yes.
So European is a bit more complex.
Yes, I like.
Yeah, has more personality, has more layers, whereas Western is more, I can use it every day, all the time.
And Middle Eastern?
Middle Eastern is
very
quite
special
in the
market.
Yes,
it's
very different.
I find it very strong.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
But there's actually a lot of adaptations now because Middle Eastern brands are becoming more commercialized globally. So they're trying to adapt whatever it is that other countries or other markets are also used to. So let's say they would still have oud, which is what they are known for. Yeah, and then they would incorporate it now with, let's say, Asian ingredients to appeal to an Asian market.
Like white tea?
White tea, sometimes rose.
You mentioned something very interesting with, well, I personally don't call it Middle Eastern, I say West Asia. But for Middle Eastern, what is that thing that you mentioned? They actually use perfume or fragrance 3 times more.
Yes.
Than us in the
the
world.
entire Asia.
Okay.
than the entire Asian region. Yeah,
so I really thought that, it's just them producing it. But even as users, they're actually one of the top
Yeah, because they layer.
Yes.
They actually
They
put
layer.
on a lot. And
No.
and even the males. Yes.
Even more males, right? Because they like to layer. So, for example, they've got that white outfit. They actually smoke themselves under.
Yeah.
Then they spray. And then after that, they even put the oil. So it's layers
Upon layers.
of fragrances. So the whole day, you smell a certain scent.
Yeah. This is actually the wood chips, agarwood chips.
Yes.
They actually burn this and then they put it in a container. They stand over it so that the clothes actually absorb the smell.
Yeah, so this is from agarwood.
Okay. Yes.
And in the Philippines, we produce agarwood now. Well, we've started to plant. A lot of people are quite keen on that. So this is the agarwood, and you need to inoculate this with the bacteria so that it has those little things.
I'm so happy that you know this.
I just know how to smell. But all of these other details, we'll leave it to you guys.
Yeah, but
as a nose, I'm just curious to find out. Of course, you'll be quite, pun intended, nosy, with all the scents that you go through. How do you reset that? Siyempre, kasi maghahalo-halo yan eh.
Right.
And one scent will stick, to you later on until you can't even decipher everything. So how do you reset that for people who love scents like me?
Yeah, actually you can smell your skin. That's the number one thing. You can just smell your skin, inner elbow here.
Okay.
You can just smell it.
Just to reset, no?
Yes.
Good tip.
Actually, I do not believe in using coffee beans because coffee in itself has its own aroma.
Correct.
And if you have already smelled a lot of things, your nose gets tired. And when your nose is tired, you have to let it rest. So the best thing is to actually stop smelling or reset smelling your skin, or just, leave the room temporarily and then come back.
Okay, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Because I smell good naman.
Okay, but they say, Bernadette, there's a lot of, when you enter a room and your fragrance comes out, it helps set the mood, basically. So whether you're going to be aggressive, whether you're going to be welcoming, whether you're going to be sweet, if you're open, close, there's a lot of different signals when using a fragrance. And we're going to talk about that. However, before we talk about that, of course, we also want to know, because we're chismoso and chismosa, what's the most expensive fragrance in the world?
There's a brand called Clive Christian.
Yes.
So one of the most expensive fragrances, I'm not sure how much it is now, but the last time that I checked, they have a bottle that's around $80,000. And I think it has encrusted
crystals,
bottles, and
diamonds,
then made with gold, stuff like this.
But in terms of material or ingredient, which one is most expensive to acquire?
So there's a few expensive materials. One is actually agarwood, and I'll let you smell one. I have it here. So this one is from a farm in Vietnam. This one is around 250,000 per kilo. 250,000 pesos.
Pesos per kilo.
I'll let you smell it.
What's the name?
Let's guess.
This is
Agarwood
agarwood.
also.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
But
agarwood.
specifically from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So it's a particular genome?
It's a particular. Well, it's
Oh.
it's particular. This variety is particular to Vietnam, but what makes it special is this one is harvested from a 70-year-old tree. That's why it's so
and I
expensive.
can tell you what brand I can smell this is. But we'll be right back, okay? With Bernadette.
Hang on there because
I wish we had the whole day.
Yeah, but when we come back, here's something interesting, Ferdi. We're gonna be letting you guys know of other things we never thought you could make into scents as well. I know you guys are curious, so make sure to stick around. We're gonna take a short break. More conversation with fragrance specialist Bernadette Lim.
back to the Daily Dish. We're still joined by fragrance specialist Miss Bernadette Lim. So before we took a break, I had a little pre-teaser, which is which fragrances incite aggression, incite romance.
Confidence,
even. Confidence.
Yeah.
What can you give us insights on that?
Actually, it depends on not just on the note or the actual scent it is, but how, like, the intensity of the fragrance. Because I can create or I can use a fragrance that smells intense for some, but if it lingers on the skin, then it's soft, right? Now, some fragrances naman can smell like, let's say, a rose, but if it is, yun, parang umaalingasaw talaga siya, it follows you everywhere like a cloud, then it becomes more like a boss babe vibe, right? So it doesn't just depend on what kind of scent it is, it also depends on how it projects, how loud
so
it is.
which fragrances would you suggest not to use in Congress or in the Senate so they don't fight among each other?
Wag na lang. Plain, wala na lang silang suotin. Cologne na lang.
Wow!
Pero fragrance din yung cologne,
Para simple.
Okay.
Joke
Good
lang.
question, Ferdi. Ako naman, I want to ask, because I may not be a nose like you and Ferdi here, but I am very particular with scents. Like, I want when I come home, it smells good. I don't smell anything bad. So when I enter airplanes, there was talk before of, kids shouldn't fly in business class kasi maingay. I don't even mind that. You can just carry your own earphones. What I mind is people who stink shouldn't fly inside the airplane.
Wait, before you answer that, you know what? There was news last night. I was doing research. There was an unfortunate situation when a family that didn't bathe, apparently, got escorted off an aircraft.
So they do that now?
Yeah. So,
is there a particular scent that could actually help people, kind of mask the scent, especially in public, like when you're inside airplanes, so that naman airlines can give it away in their kits?
So, actually, I'm not sure how to politically correct.
Don't worry, just say it.
Just say it like it is.
Just use perfumes that you like.
Okay.
But sometimes kasi the problem is they're not aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
That they have sense.
Why are they not aware of their own
Because
odors?
if you're used to a specific odor already, your brain basically just shuts it off. Especially if it doesn't put you in danger.
Really?
Yeah. So let's say.
So living sibuyas is a thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But it puts other people into danger.
I'm gonna get bashed for that.
Okay, no. We're just being real here.
Yeah.
I think the biggest horror story comes in 2 letters, B-O, and that's it. No, really, it's true. So it's very nice that you're here. Okay, I want to talk about fragrances, okay?
Okay, so what are the top 10 fragrances? Whether
Brands?
price or, brands, price or popularity.
Right now,
in demand,
Parfums de Marly is one of the top
Okay.
brands
Yeah.
because
Second.
they have a lot of scents coming out or that came out that became famous.
Okay.
Tom Ford.
okay.
Yeah,
Talk my language. Keep going. Okay.
Le Labo. Actually, the
Yes.
brands that are in Green Belt.
That you see.
Dior is, of course, a very big perfume brand as well. If we're going to go niche, then you have Initio, which is a small perfume brand.
Kurdijan.
Kurjan. Maison Francis Kurjan is also
Kurjan?
one.
Kala ko it's Kurdijan.
Okay.
Kurjan. And then, what else? There's a lot of rising small boutique brands now in the niche perfume industry. So here locally, there's Ren Atelier, Tadhana Parfums, there's Isven, there's a GP fragrances.
You did mention like ancient ones, Santa Maria Novella.
Yeah, but they're classic brands. They've been there for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, like Chanel, diba? These brands.
5,
But
okay.
their market is not growing as fast as the other brands.
Okay. Question. When, for example, our perfume set, okay, our beautiful lolas and our titas, because they love to bathe in perfume because, it's status,
Yeah.
Mabango ako, malinis, mayaman,
Yeah.
right?
Yes!
So
Correct.
what is the restraint that we can suggest for these people so that you don't have to use so much, sayang naman ang supply?
Actually, it's more of a physical thing,
Okay.
physical limitation. Because when you're young, all of your receptors in your nose are actually functioning. And it dies off as you age.
So it's not their fault.
Yes, it's not their fault.
Yeah, because
they
there's-
cannot actually smell
there's
themselves.
So it's not your fault.
No, I don't. I barely even use perfume. You know, there's a lot of people right now talking online that they get offended for them if you put too much perfume. It's offensive. Like
Yes.
you are invading my space.
Correct.
Yes.
So dapat you put it at a certain level. Okay, I want to ask about these types of fragrances. If you want to get your loved one in the mood, what scent should you be wearing?
Sensual notes
Yes,
like
sensual
tuberose,
notes. Oo.
ilang-ilang, sandalwood, they evoke these kinds of emotions.
Ilang-ilang,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's
An
expensive.
it's an aphrodisiac, actually.
Okay.
I know what to plant in your farm.
I know what to put in my on
DR,
my
I know
farm
what to
now.
plant in
At
your farm. Yeah.
Ilang-ilang. Okay.
But you know, when she mentioned ilang-ilang, Chal, do you know that the Philippines produces ilang-ilang?
yes.
Pero
It's us.
and our version of ilang-ilang is one of the most coveted ingredients.
Exactly.
But why is that? How come nobody's talking about it? Why are we
Para
not?
siyang insider talk lang.
Yeah.
But why is it not a hero product like vetiver? Why?
Actually, before, ilang-ilang used to be the only source. Philippines used to be the only source of ilang-ilang in the world. So the original ilang-ilang oils that were in Chanel number 5, they
Yes.
actually came from the Philippines. Now came the war. In World War II, the French guy that was planting here locally transported it to Madagascar.
Okay.
So doon na siya nag-grow. Kasi proximity-wise, it's easier for them. Now, hindi siya na-sustain locally, which is a bit sad. But there's actually a lot of smaller farms now that are coming up with
But there's a
supply.
movement.
Yes.
Because, you know, economically, we can be a powerhouse for ingredients in the perfume world.
Yes.
Because we have, agar. We have ilang-ilang, sampagita.
Yes.
What else do we have? I mean, agar. Vetiver, you can plant it anywhere.
Yeah, even cinnamon is actually used in the fragrance industry, and there's a lot in Visayas region.
Is that a fact? I didn't know that. But would you be, like Bernadette, is this like a battle cry for you to be able to tell farmers, hey, let's go plant and put the Philippines in the fragrance ingredient market?
That's one of the things that I advocate for. So I usually work with the DOST with stuff like this. I try to at least source from local farms para rin ma-encourage for them to plant more because there's really a big demand for it and we're not tapping into that. One of the challenges is, of course, planting it. And one of the things, or at least like the limiting factors is once you plant it, you need to wait 5 to 7 years before you can harvest anything. And not a lot of people are willing to wait that long.
Okay lang, it's like a relationship, di ba?
Yeah.
Magliligawan tayo, in 5 years
Commitment.
kakasal tayo.
And it's
Okay lang
worth it.
yan.
It's
Pwede
good
tayo,
for
we can
industry.
wait.
Yeah, so may mga farms naman na that are doing that.
Okay, so when it comes to fragrance, it's not just all about plants, right? There are certain other ingredients that you can have. So aside from flowers, what else?
Roots,
Roots.
the bark of the tree. Then we also
Okay,
have this
there,
one.
I wanted to get into that. So I promised you guys that you will be quite shocked, I hope, just like
Can I open
was.
it?
Yeah. I can
Not
get
everything
the
comes from
rock.
flowers. So here is an ingredient that Bernadette brought for us. And literally, this is bird vomit. Did I get
No,
that
no,
right?
whale, whale.
Oh, whale?
Whale vomit.
Did you say whale?
Ayaw niya.
Here,
Whale
I
or
got you.
quail?
Whale. As
Whale.
in sperm whale.
As in sperm
Whale, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
not bird,
can't
but
get
still vomit.
Well,
okay.
here it is, okay?
So this one is used as a fragrance, quote-unquote
Yeah.
fragrance as well.
Ingredient. Yeah. So this one is...
I'm gonna move to cam 2 so that you can see
You're
it.
touching vomit.
I'm
Ala.
touching sperm whale vomit. Okay? Or is it better in cam 1?
Okay, let's show it there.
Wow.
Yeah, so
And
it
this
looks like
is-
a rock.
Yes.
Yeah, so this one is used as what we call a fixative. Fixatives help prolong the life of a scent.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and where is it used again, aside from just
Sorry.
prolong?
Here's the vomit.
That's the main purpose.
Not for the
really.
scent itself.
Yeah. Well,
Wow, this is so
now this is in a lot. The synthetic version is called ambroxan, and it's in a lot of fragrances that you find, especially for male fragrances.
There's
Yes.
a powdery scent na may parang it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But now I know what vomit smells like.
Now vomit pala is mahal. I
Oo.
love it.
Yes.
May pera sa
develop
suka.
it. May pera sa
Sa suka.
suka.
Okay.
Okay, we've got just a few more moments to be with you, Bernadette, and we want to know, okay? So if you were to create fragrances for certain people, what would it be? We're going to give you a few names, okay?
Okay.
Let's go for the president and the first lady.
Ooh.
What would you create for them?
For the first lady, something with
And why, huh?
frangipani or plumeria. Ano ba siya sa Tagalog?
Calachuchi.
Calachuchi.
Yeah.
There. I actually made a fragrance for Intramuros Museum, which the First Lady liked.
Okay.
So she liked that
Okay, what
scent.
about the president then?
For the president, something that's strong. At least like very may ano ba,
May dating?
conviction.
Okay.
Yan. So something with vetiver and oud. And then who else?
Key VP.
VP Sara. Something that has a milder perception when you smell it, because she already looks quite strong, di ba? So something to tame.
Akala ko vetiver kasi grass
Hindi.
green.
Okay.
Color
Something maybe like Lily of the Valley.
Key Senate
I love
President
Lily of the
Soto.
Valley.
Yeah.
For Ann Curtis, sino?
Ann
Gusto mo?
Curtis, what did she like? Aquatic fragrances as well as fruity scents.
Okay, this one, medyo challenging. Congressman's Suntay. No, because diba? Para
Something
naman,
sweet para
yes,
tame.
Matim, beautiful. Oo, and what would that be?
Oh, ito na. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Si soon to be wed, di umano, Bea Alonzo.
Oh. Feeling ko Rose and Puny girl siya.
Rose and
Yeah.
Puny girl. What about Madam Corina Sanchez?
Oh. Something elegant but lasts a long time. Tuberose.
Pero again, VP Sara, what did you say?
What did I say?
Lily of the Valley.
Lily of the
Okay, this one
Valley.
naman not a person, but to be able to evoke something. If I want to get 1 billion pesos, what fragrance should I carry to be able to bring me
Amoy na ng
abundance? Amoy na. And what is
Ba't pa tayo
that?
lalayo?
Last,
answer.
kizabi ko, anong papabigay mo sa kanya?
Ano ba amoy ng luggage?
We love you.
Thank
We
you
love
so
having
much,
you here.
Bernadette Lim.
Thank you also.
We want you back because we have so much more to talk to you about. But thank you so much for spending your time
Thank
with
you
us this
also for
afternoon.
having me.
This is just the tip of the iceberg, or the tip of the nose.
Tip of the nose. Okay. We've got more stories from around the world, plus the latest in sports and entertainment when the Daily Dish returns. How fun.
You did great.
Welcome back to the Daily Dish. The International Energy Agency is considering its largest ever release of oil reserves as crude prices surge amid the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. The proposal would exceed the 182 million barrels released by member countries in 2022 after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The IEA is holding an extraordinary meeting of member states with a decision expected on Wednesday. Any objection would potentially delay the plan. Markets quickly reacted to the report, resulting in a drop in oil prices. China's top political advisory body wraps up its annual National People's Congress in Beijing. President Xi Jinping and other party and state leaders attended the closing meeting of the 14th Political Consultative Conference, where several resolutions and reports were approved. The annual session opened last week with the economy, technology, and the military high on the agenda.
For Bilyonaryo Chalo Rufino, slick and classic cars aren't just meant to be admired. Through Sports Cars for a Cause, these dream machines are helping open doors for underprivileged students of automotive technology. Our mobility correspondent G. Baroga has the story.
Bilyonaryo Charlie Rufino's Sports Scars for a Cause is back, a charity-driven event that supports students from the Sisters of Mary School in Cavite and Cebu. And this year, the generosity of the community was on full display. According to Rufino, the funds raised from the event, themed It Takes a Village, are, quote, substantially higher than last year's 12.7 million pesos.
We celebrate how a community can come together for a shared purpose. What started as a gathering only of car enthusiasts has grown to a very meaningful event that unites families, partners, and the wider automotive community.
Auto clubs, collectors, and enthusiasts showed up in full force, many bringing along friends, families, and even their pets.
Car enthusiasts of all ages are buzzing here at the 7 Sports Cars for a Cause. Over 400 vintage and high-performance cars are on display along 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, and 27th Street, making it the biggest turnout in its over half-a-decade run.
From classic beauties to off-road machines, the streets were filled with Ferraris, BMWs, Benzes, and Mazda Miatas, including an attention-grabbing first-generation MX-5 with popping eyes. Longtime supporter of the event is car enthusiast and racer Angie Mead King. She admits it's a sensitive time to bring out sports cars these days, and the event almost did not push through. But she says many wants to support the cause.
Let's not make this about the cars. It's really about doing good and paying it forward. We're blessed to be able to own these things, but to be able to pay it forward, share the passion, teach people, and then show the younger generation also that we're showing up for a good thing.
International artist Apple Diab was also spotted at the event and says the mission hits close to home.
It's really important for me to move it forward because one of those kids, the beneficiary of somebody else's generosity from a foundation works.
The Sisters of Mary School says the charity event has helped support 140 scholars since 2019. Construction is also underway for a 5-story digital transformation center for its automotive students. Catch the full feature on Shift Happens with Paulo del Rosario. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
Cool cars. Filipino hospitality may be waiting for Alex Ayala at Indian Wells in California. American doubles player Desiree Krawatskik shared on the Players Box podcast that her Filipino mother wants to meet the rising Filipina tennis star. She said to her mom even offered to cook Filipino favorites like pancit and lumpia for Ayala.
And I told Alex about it, and she's like, oh my gosh, I would love that. And if I tell my mom that, my mom will probably make like 3 big bowls of noodles. So I don't know if I should give it to Alex, but yeah, they just go balls to the wall with that stuff. So yeah, it's fun to have them around.
Celebrities including Zendaya, Felix, and the Haim sisters turned heads at the Louvre as they attended Louis Vuitton's Paris Fashion Week show. LV women's wear designer Nicolas Ghesquière presented a fall-winter collection in the museum's Cour Carré. Inspired by folklore and travel, models walked past jagged green mountain-like sets, carrying branches with handbags and oversized wicker baskets. The looks featured shaggy coats, furry hats, frilled trousers, and bold silhouettes, reflecting what Ghesquière called a universal folklore. Meanwhile, Royal Mail unveiled 12 special stamps celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. 8 stamps feature characters like Frodo, Gandalf, Aragorn, and Legolas, while 4 highlight iconic locations such as the Shire and Mount Doom. Under UV light, the first-class stamps reveal a hidden Elvish ring message. The collectible set goes on general sale March 20 with a presentation pack of all 12 stamps costing 21.30 pounds. Up next, we are talking about how genetics are changing the future of cancer care with medical oncologist Dr. Francis Kerr. Don't go away. The Daily Dish will be right back.
Welcome back to the Daily Dish. Today we're diving into an important conversation about cancer care and the role of genetics in modern medicine.
Our next guest is a medical oncologist specializing in cancer genetics and genomics, helping patients access more personalized and targeted treatment options. Please welcome to the show Dr. Francis Kerr. Thank you for making time, Doc Francis.
Doc Francis, thank you. We got super excited when Doc Eileen mentioned about you, and we find it very important to tell our viewers and and the Filipinos about how to deal with cancer, to prevent, to know, and of course to treat. So you are. Am I allowed to say that? You're the only doctor dealing with this kind of specialty
in the Philippines? Correct?
Well, at least for the medical oncology side, yes, I do genetics. I'm the only one in our society so far.
Okay, so thank you for what you do. Earlier on the break, I had to consult also with Ferdi when it comes to Dr. Ferdi as well. When it comes to the terminologies that we're having, of course, oncology, we understand that, but then putting all of these together to understand the profession that you do, let's talk about what role does genetic testing play in identifying, of course, a person's cancer risk?
So genetic testing actually looks at the DNA sequence that one was born with. So it helps define your actual risks, especially in patients diagnosed with cancer. Now, if you're found to carry a hereditary predisposition that is a pathogenic variant or mutation in a high-risk cancer susceptibility gene, one example now would be the BRCA1 and 2 genes, which cause hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome, which is seen in about 5 to 10% of breast cancer patients. So knowing that it confers a higher risk of developing certain cancers like breast cancer and ovarian cancer, it helps us to make better treatment decisions, surgical decisions, knowing how well they will do with treatments, and also additionally find out about the risk of their family members. So it really does help a lot in identifying that person who's already been diagnosed with cancer, what their risk is, and also additionally their family members.
Okay, like for example, Dr. Ake, my mother unfortunately is no longer with us anymore, had cancer. So does that put me in a situation wherein I'm more susceptible than other people?
Well, I don't know your mom's actual diagnosis.
Ovarian, she had breast also.
Is that an indicator already, having someone in your family? Yes.
Yes. So we think of a hereditary cancer whenever we see a cancer case. Because remember, genetics is going to be playing a role in every cancer case. So we think of hereditary cancers if we see patients diagnosed at a young age. Young is defined as age 50 and below. Those who have a strong family history, which I think for you might be the case. We also do testing for patients who've had multiple primary cancers, like your mom having breast and ovarian cancer definitely is a red flag to have someone be tested. And we also do testing for rare cancers, and one example is is actually ovarian cancer. So given that, no, these risk factors, we recommend genetics risk assessment and testing for those who meet these criteria.
Yeah, Doctor, of course, I don't want to incite any panic among our viewers, but for example, like my mother had those cancers, no, those cancer concerns. Does that mean to say, am I susceptible? Because obviously I don't have ovaries. I mean, that cuts it out. But then will I have it manifested in another form of cancer? Or do I have to contact my female siblings, my sisters, tell them, you got to go test because this is what mom had?
Okay, well, again, it depends on what gene might have been running in your family, no? So let's assume you have the most common hereditary cancer genes, which are the BRCA1 and 2 genes, no? This causes hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome, and this is associated with obviously breast and ovarian cancer, but it's also associated with prostate cancer,
Oh my.
male breast cancer, pancreatic cancer, and a type of skin cancer called melanoma. So we do have some perceptions kasi that we talk about breast and ovarian cancer and we just think of the females. We also have to think about the males
Yes,
who
of
may
course.
also have a risk of getting cancers. So like I said, there are certain hereditary cancer syndromes that will manifest with disease that males can also get.
Okay, since we're talking about, red flags, family members, let's get into it. Are there certain types of cancers where genetic testing should play a role?
Yeah, so for any cancer, I think we should think about hereditary cancer, of course. But there are certain cancers that we think of genetics more, and the primary example would be breast and ovarian cancer because they cause they are associated with the most common hereditary cancer syndrome, which is the hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome. Aside from that, there are also other types of cancers like colorectal cancers that
I was
are
about to ask, yeah.
associated with the most common hereditary colorectal cancer syndrome, which is called Lynch syndrome. We also have polyposis syndromes that can cause colorectal cancers. And if we think about other organs in the body, like there are hereditary cancer syndromes that are associated with stomach cancer and breast cancer. We also have kidney, bladder cancers. No? So virtually every organ that we see may have a hereditary component.
Yes. Doctora, what are the most common misconceptions of people about genetic testing for cancer? Because it's scary.
That's true. But I think the most significant misunderstanding that we think about is that most cancers are hereditary. That's not true. In reality, about 5 to 10% of cancers, only 5 to 10% of cancers are because of inherited mutations. But the vast majority, I'm going to say 90% of cancers are what we call sporadic. It happens by chance, maybe bad luck. But basically,
What? Bad luck?
different. Yeah, it's really a combination of several factors. No, number one is age. As we get older,
Yeah.
the risk
Okay.
of getting cancers higher. And second would be our environment.
Lifestyle.
Everything
Yeah.
happened
Yes.
during your lifetime. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Lifestyle, diet, smoking, alcohol intake, oral contraceptive use, chemical exposure, stress, etc. So all these things combined, no, age and environment will cause most cancer. So I think that's the most common misconception that we're
Yeah.
thinking about.
Doctora, just a follow-up. You said obviously the normal ones like alcohol intake, of course, that causes
Lifestyle, yeah.
pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, and stuff like that. Smoking, obviously, right? Happy to say I quit almost 3 months.
I know, doing good.
But you
Very
said
good.
oral contraceptives. That's the
Yeah.
first time I've ever heard that may be a carcinogen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's quite common. A lot of women are taking that obviously for birth control. But in certain situations, not taking this for a long time will increase the hormone production in the body and may increase the risk of getting breast cancer.
Interesting. Did you know that?
Yeah, so that's why there's a certain limit, no, when you always have to consult with your doctor because you can't just take it forever.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
that's good to note. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, thanks for catching on that, Ferdi. Now, I want to talk about genomic tests. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Genomic tests. Although we keep mentioning it here, maybe some of our viewers are not familiar. What is it really? What does it really entail? For patients in the Philippines, how can they access this? What happens through the process? Para naman we can take out the fears and misconceptions that this have.
Okay. Well, genomic test is a broad term. It looks at every technology that looks at the DNA sequence that you may have been born with, or a DNA sequence of the tumor tissue of a cancer. So that's a broad term. So what we're talking about right now, dealing with hereditary cancers, is what we call germline genetic testing, looking at the DNA sequence that one was born with. So it's very unique. It's like your fingerprint, only you have that DNA sequence. No? So that is what I'm talking about right now, is germline genetic testing. Definitely, this is accessible in the Philippines. We have this available. There are some local labs that will have testing, although they are limited, and we can only test for a few genes at one go. In my practice, I do send out to other labs in the US and other countries like Singapore, for example, where they are able to do broader testing, test for more genes, get more information. Definitely, this is accessible. It's easy to do. We usually collect blood or saliva. These are very easy to obtain specimens, no? And we send them to the lab locally or abroad. Now, definitely cost may be an issue because these machines and the reagents that are used are quite expensive, and the turnaround time may also be an issue because we get results after about 2, 4, 6 weeks. No, it takes some time. So while it is accessible, there are certain issues that we have to take into account. But of course, it can be done, and
Okay.
it is available in the Philippines.
And I'd like to think that it would be life-changing,
Yes.
you know, despite the price that or the cost that it might come
Yeah,
with.
I don't know if you are comfortable answering this question, Dr.
Okay.
Kea, but what price range should people expect if they want to do this kind of testing?
Well, it'll depend on what lab and what particular test you're gonna do. So it'll be in the range of like maybe 20 up to 50 or 60,000 for
Okay.
the genetic testing. Previously, it used to be about 200,000 to do tests for only the BRCA1 and 2 genes. So it was very limited, no, in the access. But right now, because there are a lot of labs doing it, the cost has gone down.
But you know what, Chal, I mean, at 50, 60, even 100,000, I mean, knowing that you may be susceptible to that is cheaper prevention-wise.
Prevention, I was going to say, yes.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, Doc, no, can genetic testing actually help family members? You know, Ferdi was talking about the unfortunate thing that happened with his mom. Can this really help family members understand their own cancer risk, or if they have it?
Yeah, definitely. No? So, knowing your risks. Like, for example, if we just talk about general population, every woman has a risk of getting breast cancer in their lifetime. It's about 12.5% by the time you reach 70 years old. But the people who have these genetic mutations, like BRCA1 and 2, the risk can go up about 60 to 80%. So, you see that the difference is very big, right? And it would be good to actually know what your risk is rather than just surmising based on your family history. So definitely it will help the family members understand the risk. It's also important to note, no, that the family members of patients who are already known to have a genetic predisposition would have a 50% risk for the first degree relatives of having the same genetic change. So it's very important to try to find out if you have it or not, because it helps determine what kind of screening you actually should be doing. We can give measures on how to decrease your risk of cancer, taking prophylactic medications, for example, or even doing prophylactic surgeries like what Angelina Jolie did.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of ways that we are able to decrease that risk, no, to get cancer.
Right. So aside from prophylactic, what you call it, therapies and practices, Doctora, now that people have, or once they get the information, what's next?
Well, at least for those who've been diagnosed already with cancer, it can help open up treatment options for them. There are certain drugs that work better for patients who have these genetic mutations. We have right now targeted therapies, which again work better, and also in terms of side effects profile, no, are actually more tolerable. Aside from that, helping them make better decisions in terms of what surgeries they can do and also how they're going to be doing surveillance or monitoring into the future. So definitely there's a lot that we can do.
What we're really trying to say here, I guess, Doc, is that you don't need to be left in the dark.
No, definitely.
And you know, be guessing around and saying, you know, because my family have it, I probably would have it na rin. You could actually prevent it. You could find out and get information. But on more positive note, let's talk about the advances in cancer treatment. Maybe there's some things that you could share with us on terms of research. What are you most excited about right now?
We are doing a lot of work in terms of genetics. One of them would be general population sequencing. So really getting more information about big numbers of people and knowing what they might be predisposed to. We also have some work on personalized cancer vaccines that can help decrease someone's risk of getting cancer. And definitely there are a lot of new drugs coming out targeting these mutations that definitely will be able to help prolong the lives of patients or even cure them. So definitely there's a lot to do. I'm also very excited about early detection using blood tests rather than conventional screening measures. And it's really something that we should watch out for in the future.
Hopefully that becomes real. Dr. Ke, genetics, genomics, and personalized cancer treatment. Thank you so much, Dr. Francis Ke.
Thank you, Dr. Ke. Now we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. The Daily Dish will be right back shortly.
Welcome back to the Daily Dish, and we have this just in. The Department of Transportation has confirmed that there will be a fare hike soon. Stay tuned to BNC for more details on that story. And before we go, tomorrow we will speak with Nice Print Photo Chief Executive Officer and Founder Charisse Tino. That's at noon only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. We all know Nice Print is one of the favorite partners for your events, for your to celebrate your milestones.
And celebrities as well.
Yes. And that's it for us this Wednesday, March 11. Join us again tomorrow for more Real Talk.
A lot of spilled tea with zero filter. I'm Ferdi Salvador, always on top with the news and stories that matter most.
And I'm Chal Lontoc. Stay tuned to the Bilyonaryo News Channel always.
Thanks for making us your lunchtime companion. I'm Mai Rodriguez. That's the Daily Dish. Serve!